He was asked about questions around division within the Republican Party or the MAGA movement on whether or not the United States should get involved in this war with Iran. And he said his supporters do not want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. He also said you have to fight, and sometimes you have to make a choice between fighting and not fighting, and the choice is whether or not there's a nuclear weapon for Iran. That cannot happen because he says the entire world will blow up. He also was asked about a word that the French president used when it came to a ceasefire between Israel and Iran, and he said we are way beyond that. We are not looking for a ceasefire. We are looking for total, complete victory. What does total, complete victory mean? It means no nuclear weapon for Iran. For some analysis, let's bring in Gina Abercrombie-Winstanley. She is the former U.S. Deputy Coordinator for Counterterrorism and also served as the U.S. Ambassador to Malta. She joins us from Circleville, Ohio. And ma'am, thank you for taking the time on what is clearly a very important and interesting day.
Yes, thank you.
I hope you heard what Donald Trump had to say. All right, so just give me your reaction to where you think the president's head is right now when it comes to this very pivotal decision.
Indeed. Well, I think he is a little bit further than the American people may be, the majority of us. Certainly, negotiations need to be resumed. The Iranians were negotiating with us. We have to keep in mind this was not a U.S. decision. This was an Israeli decision. Now, the president is backing Israel at this point, so he must have received some separate intelligence from the Israelis that has led him to set aside what the head of the Office of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, said just a couple of months ago, which was the U.S. assessment, was that a nuclear weapon was not in the immediate offing. He's disagreed with that now. That remains to be seen. But whenever you are negotiating, there is a difference between negotiating and ultimatum. And I think what he's saying negotiate, he's giving an ultimatum at this point. And that becomes a challenge because when you are negotiating, you have to leave your opponent space. You do not want to back someone into a corner because from there, irrational decisions get made. That is one of the concerns of the American people.
Yeah, Gina, tell me a little bit more in terms of what your thinking is on that, because it sure sounds as though, I know he says, he hedges, he says, I haven't made a decision, but the language that he used, and he talks about how he's still open to meeting Iranians in the White House. I mean, that would be an extraordinary moment, but that he believes, to your point, that Iran was just a few weeks away from having a nuclear weapon, and they cannot have a nuclear weapon. But in terms of U.S. involvement, one of the key areas of questioning, what people are wondering about, is whether or not it would be U.S. military capability that would be used to destroy the Fordow Nuclear Enrichment Center, which is a key goal, and Israel does not have the capability, that's our understanding, to do that. So is that really what is being decided, do you think, from Donald Trump?
I believe that is what is being decided. Certainly when Israel started the war against Iran, they knew that they could not destroy Fordow, that only the United States has the bombs that are likely to be able to get to that level of deep inside of a mountain. So there was an assessment from the Israeli side that they could indeed talk the U.S. into joining this war. The president says we're not there yet. And you can be assured, as he has acknowledged, there are a number of voices in his ear. I'm urging caution, urging second thoughts when this was not our decision. This was an Israeli decision to start at this time. The United States does not want to be entering into a wars that we have not decided to enter into. And so that is something that gives many in leadership as well as among the American people caution. Now, the president is, of course, absolutely right when he says we all agree that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. But the American people had faith in Donald Trump, in the president, when he began his diplomatic negotiations. He said he could get it done. His supporters and many other Americans who did not vote for him hoped and supported him getting it done diplomatically. So this sudden change that does not appear to have been his choice is one that gives everyone caution. So where he's going to land, only he knows. We already have from his first administration, let alone the first 5, nearly 6 months of this administration, a president that can change a decision on a whim very, very quickly indeed.
Very quickly indeed. And so how dangerous do you think this moment is?
It is dangerous. And one of the reasons it's dangerous, as others have observed, it's easy to start wars. It's very difficult to stop them. What is the end game? What is Israel's expectation once it has taken out leadership, military leadership, scientists, killed another number of civilians, destruction of infrastructure, gas and oil, television stations? What then are the Iranian people to do? If indeed there is regime change, that is a possibility, the regime is very unpopular, who comes next? We have many examples in history, certainly the United States does, so too do other countries, of trying to effect regime change and having it go badly wrong. The United States certainly doesn't have a plan for how to rebuild Iran at this time because we didn't start this war. Israel did.
And so what is the end game here, do you think, for Donald Trump? Like, what do you think it is he's trying to achieve?
Yeah. Well, he wants the Iranians to clearly accept no enrichment at all. I know that his negotiator has gone back and forth on whether a little bit, but whatever the deal was that was put on the table, there is some information that it was at 3% at the time, but they have since said none, that the deal that was on the table, hopefully it is positive enough that the Iranians can accept it to save their people further death and destruction, to save the country from further economic devastation, that they can be brave enough to step up and do that. But at this time, there is no guarantee, there's no confidence that they will. And the Iranians, we saw with the Iraq-Iran war, the last time a country started attacking Iran when they thought they were weak, and that war lasted for years. So many might expect the Iranians won't give up in what we might consider a logical fashion, putting the country, the ability to do something better for the country first.
Are you hopeful that this, I'm not sure exactly what the question is, but are you hopeful that is this part of Donald Trump's negotiating strategy to sort of amp up the rhetoric and to try and end this? And do you believe that Iran was just weeks away from getting a nuclear weapon?
Well, I don't have information that Tulsi Gabbard does not have, or that certainly the president does not have at this time. So although until we have heard from the president that he believes there's reason to think that they were weeks away, I was following U.S. intelligence assessments and did believe there was plenty of time for negotiations. Keep in mind that the deal that President Obama negotiated in 2015 was 2 years in the making. President Trump asserted 60 days, 2 months. We have seen repeatedly assertions by the president while he was campaigning that he'd get the Ukraine war done in a day, that he'd get Gaza resolved quickly. And this 2 months was an extremely short period of time. And he did recognize that because he had another round of negotiations planned. So there was an acknowledgement by the United States that this would take time to get where we all want to be. And again, there's a great deal of trust in the president when he said diplomacy is better than war.
Gina, thank you very much. Gina Abercrombie-Winstanley, appreciate your time.